Welcome to Meden Tutorials. This is the first presentation on organization of the body. If you are preparing for your medical and dental council examination, then this is the right platform for you. All right, so without wasting my time, let's quickly begin. Which of the listed terms is described by all the chemical processes take place in the organelles and cytoplasm of the cells of the body? In other words, this is a definition for a particular term. What is it? Is it metabolism? Is it cellular respiration? Is it homeostasis? Or it is physiology? Well, this actually refers to metabolism. The term metabolism refers to all the chemical processes that occur within a living organism to maintain life. These processes occur in the organelles and the cytoplasm of the cells, and it includes both anabolism, which is building up of molecules, and catabolism, which is breaking down molecules for energy production. Cellular respiration, on the other hand, is a specific metabolic process by which the cells generate energy, also known as ATP, from glucose and oxygen. Homeostasis simply refers to the process by which the body maintains a stable internal environment despite changes in the external environment. Whereas physiology simply refers to the study of how the body and its system function. So, in this question, this best describes metabolism, and hence your answer is A. Which major organ lies deep to the right hypochondriac region? Lies deep to the right hypochondriac region. Is it the stomach, the spleen, the liver, or the duodenum? Now, before we enter into the question properly, let's kindly take a look at this diagram. Normally, the abdomen can be divided into 9 regions. 9 regions by drawing 2 imaginary vertical lines and 2 imaginary horizontal lines. It gives you 9 regions. So from the diagram, the region 1 refers to the right hypochondriac region. Region 2 is the epigastric region. Region 3 is the left hypochondriac region. 4 refers to right lumbar region. The 5th is the umbilical region. The 6th is the left lumbar region. The 7th is the right iliac region. Then we have the hypogastric region and the left iliac region. This is so important for us because depending on the region that is being referred to, there are organs embedded in it, or you can find organs in these regions. For instance, when you take the epigastric region, which is region number 2, you are looking at the stomach, some part of the liver, the pancreas, the duodenum, the spleen, and the adrenal glands. You can find these things in region number 2. Likewise, other regions, there are specific organs that can be located over there. Now, back to the question. Now, the focus here is the right hypochondriac region. So, the right hypochondriac region is located in the upper right area of the abdomen. It is just beneath the ribs. Now, the liver, especially its right lobe, lies deep to this region. It is the major organ occupying this area in most individuals. So the patient comes to you with right hypochondriac region tenderness. It means you are likely to be thinking about what? The liver, and of course, the gallbladder and the rest. But basically, the liver is the most prominent one over there. Now, the stomach lies more centrally and to the left, mainly in the epigastric region. And of course, parts even move to the left hypochondriac region. The spleen is located in the left hypochondriac region. It is not on the right, it's on the left. The duodenum mostly lies in the epigastric region near the midline. So again, which major organ lies deep to the right hypochondriac region? And your answer is definitely the liver. So C should be your answer. Which plane of the body divides it into dorsal and ventral regions? Dorsal and ventral regions. Dorsal simply means posterior, ventral simply means anterior. So which plane of the body divides the body into posterior section and anterior sections? Is it the transverse, the axial, the coronal, or the sagittal? So again, to understand this, let's use this beautiful diagram. So we have various planes. We have the sagittal plane, we have the frontal plane, also known as the coronal plane, and then we have the transverse, also known as the horizontal or the axial plane. The axial plane. Now, the sagittal is marked as red. So this is the sagittal, red, sagittal plane. Now, this divides the body into right and left parts. So your right side and your left side is divided by the sagittal plane. Under the sagittal plane, we have the mid-sagittal, which means that it is passing through the midline of the body. For example, it passes through your head, through your nose, in the middle of your mouth, downwards. That is the mid-sagittal. So it gives you an equal part, exactly equal part, left and right. Then we have the parasagittal, which does not necessarily mean it is passing to the midline. Okay. So you can have unequal part, but still to divide the body into right and the left part. All right. Then we have the frontal or the coronal plane. The frontal or the coronal plane. This divides the body into anterior and posterior parts. So this green over here will divide your body into posterior and anterior parts, which means dorsal and ventral. Dorsal, which is posterior, and ventral, which means anterior. So the frontal plane does this work. And then we have the transverse, also known as the horizontal or the axial plane. This divides the body into the superior and the inferior parts. In other words, the upper part and the lower part. Is by the work of the horizontal or the axial or the transverse plane. So to our question, which plane of the body divides it into the dorsal and the ventral regions? Definitely, you are looking at what? The coronal plane or the frontal plane. To which of the following does the tissue level of structural organization refer? To which of the following does the tissue level of structural organization occur? Is it atoms, ions, molecules, and electrolytes? Is it mitochondria, ribosomes, nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum? Is it the nephron, the alveolus, the villus, the lobo, or the muscle, the nervous, the connective, and the epithelial tissues? So which one does the tissue level of structural organization refer to? Now, you must understand that for every organism, we have a structural organization. And by structural organization, we are referring to the chemical level, we have the cellular level, we have the tissue level, we have the organ level, we have the system level, and we have the organism level. In fact, in our JSS and SS time, we say a group of cells give you what? Tissue. Group of tissue give you what? Organ. Organ will give you what? System. And then the system will give you what? An organism. Exactly. Now, over here, we are referring to the tissue level. So, level 3, level 3, level 3. That is what our focus is on. So the tissue level of a structural organization refers to group of similar cells that work together to perform a specific function. To perform a specific function. Now, there are 4 primary tissue types in the human body. 4 primary tissue types. And these are the connective tissue, the epithelial tissue, the muscle tissue, and the nervous tissue. Now, atoms, ions, molecules, and electrolytes belong to the chemical level of organization. The chemical level of organization. Mitochondria, ribosomes, nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum are organelles which are part of the cellular level. Part of the cellular level. And then we have the nephron, the alveolus, the villus, the lobe. These are functional unit of organs. They are functional unit of organs, which are part of the organ level or even higher. They are part of the organ level or even what? Higher. And that is why over here, your best answer is D. D. The muscle, the nervous, the connective, and the epithelial tissue. The directional term superior in anatomy means which of the following? Superior. So when we say superior, what does it mean? Is it cephalic or cephalic? Is it ventral? Is it caudal or it is dorsal? For now, I'm sure you know what a dorsal is. Dorsal means posterior, ventral means anterior, right? Now let's look at the other terminologies that they are giving to us, and we'll use this to help us to explain. All right. So let's take the lateral view of this gentleman. So when you move towards the up, we have what? The cranial or the cephalic. The cranial or the cephalic. If you are moving downwards or towards the tail, we call it the caudal. 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 Now, this cranial also means cephalic or cephalic, also means superior. So means superior. And then the caudal also means what? Inferior. It means what? Inferior. All right. I've already explained. Posterior means dorsal, that's the back. And then to the front, we have the anterior or the ventral. The anterior or the ventral. So again, this is it. Moving to the top also means what? Superior. And coming down means what? Inferior. There are other things that we can also look at. All right. So let's look at this view as well. This will make sense in subsequent questions to come up. So pay attention to understand it. Now we have to call the proximal and the distal. When we're saying proximal, we're referring to something that is in close proximity to the body or to the trunk. So it moves towards the body. So if something moves towards the body, we call it proximal. If that thing moves away from the body, we call it distal. Distal. So proximal means towards the body. Distal means away from the body or further from the body. All right. Then we have medial. Medial also means towards the body or towards the midline. Towards the midline. Then lateral means away from the midline. Away from the midline. Yes. So they can be likened to proximal and distal, isn't it? Yeah. So medial means towards the midline. Lateral means away from the midline of the body. As simple as that. So let's come back to our question. The directional term superior in anatomy means which of the following? I've already explained that superior means cranial or it means what? Cephalic. Cephalic. And that is why over here, your answer is A. A. Don't forget, caudal also means tail. Also means tail. So your tail is the caudal. Caudal, yeah. Now, which of the following is the best definition of physiology? The best definition of physiology. Is it the microscopic study of tissue and cells, the study of how the body works, or the chemical process that take place in the organs of the body cells, or the body's automatic tendency to maintain a relatively constant internal environment. Which is which? Of course, physiology is simply the branch of biology that deals with the normal functions of living organisms and their parts. In other words, it is how the body works at all levels, from the cell level to the system level. Now, the microscopic study of tissues and cells defines histology. That is what histology. Now, all the chemical processes in organelles refers to metabolism. That was our first question. That this is what metabolism. Of course, it's a component of physiology. Now, the body's automatic tendency to maintain a relatively constant internal environment, of course, it describes what? Homeostasis. Homeostasis, which is also a concept within the physiology. So, again, your correct answer will be B, the study of how the body works. This best defines physiology. The anatomical position could be described as which of the following? The anatomical position could be described as which of the following? Is it lying down prone? Is it lying down supine? Is it standing displaying the ventral surface of the body? Or standing with arms and legs abducted? All right. So technically, let's look at how when we say stand anatomically or be in the anatomical position, what does it mean? It means this right here. It means this right here. Oh, wait, I've already explained to you the planes and all of that. So no need for me to go into them again. The focus here is the anatomical position. The anatomical position. Now, the anatomical position is the standard reference posture that is used in anatomy to describe the locations and relationships of the body part. It is used to describe the locations and relationships of the body part. It is described as one, standing upright. So, to be in a position, it means you are standing upright. You are facing forward. Standing upright, facing forward, that is, you are showing your ventral or your anterior surface. The arms should be at the sides. So, arm at the sides. The palms should be facing forward. The palms should also be facing forward. Then, the feet should be flat on the floor and slightly apart, just like in this diagram, and slightly apart. So this we can say is the anatomical position. Anatomical position. So now let's go back to our options to see if any one of them meets the criteria that we have just used to describe anatomical position. So lying down prone, definitely not. Lying down prone means that you are lying with your face down, and that is not anatomical position. Lying down supine means lying on the back. Lying on the back. Lying. Now, this can be used for certain kind of what examination, but that is not the anatomical reference. Now, standing with arms and legs abducted means the arms are lifted away from the sides of the body, that is, they move outward, and the legs are spread apart, that's away from the body's midline. I already explained it earlier on. All right. So again, none of them meets it except for standing, displaying the ventral surface of the body. That is part of our description for anatomical position. And that is why over here, your answer should be C. Now, which choice best describes the location of the majority of the musculoskeletal system? The majority of the musculoskeletal system, where can they be located? Is it the dorsal cavity, the ventral cavity, the anopelvic cavity, or it is not located in a body cavity, or it is not located in a body cavity? So first of all, let's look at what musculoskeletal system is all about. The musculoskeletal system is a major body system that provides support, provides movement, and protection. It consists of two main components. two main components. That is, we have the skeletal system, which are mainly bones. Then we have the muscular system, which are mainly what? Muscles. Now, the other component is or are the connective tissues. The connective tissues. These are made up of the joint, the ligament, the tendons, and the cartilages. The cartilages. So these are everything that summary of what you need to know about the musculoskeletal system. Now, this musculoskeletal system is primarily located outside of the body cavities. It is located outside the body cavities, embedded within the body wall and the limbs. So you find it within the body walls and the limbs. Now the dorsal cavity, mainly contains the brain and the spinal cord. The ventral cavity houses the thoracic and the abdominopelvic organs. That is the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the intestine, and what have you. Then the abdominopelvic cavity includes the digestive, the urinary, and the reproductive organs. So you can see it's got nothing to do with what? The musculoskeletal system. And that is over here. The answer is D. The musculoskeletal system is not located in a body cavity. It's rather embedded in the walls, and of course the limbs. All right. Now, which of the following is or are the content of the ventral cavity? So you see, we are back to the ventral cavity. So is it the heart and the lungs, the brain, the spinal cord, the viscera, the gut, the kidneys, blah, blah, blah? So which of the following is or are the content of the ventral cavity? So again, we're looking at this particular image to help us answer this question. So we've already established that the ventral cavity is one of the two main body cavities, which are the dorsal and the other one is the dorsal cavity. Now, the ventral cavity lies on the anterior or the front side of the body, and it contains the viscera. Guys, listen. It contains the viscera. The viscera simply refers to the collective term for the internal organs within the thoracic and the abdominal pelvic cavities. So anything that is within these cavities, we call it what? Viscera. All right. This means that the ventral cavity includes the thoracic cavity, which will contain the heart and the lungs. We also have the abdominopelvic cavity, which will contain only the gut, the kidneys, the liver, the pancreas, the spleen, and then other organs. Then the brain and the spinal cord are in the dorsal cavity. The brain and the spinal cord are in the dorsal cavity. It is not in the ventral cavity. So you can see that the other part are just fragments of the main thing, which is what? The viscera. So because the heart, the lungs, the kidney, they are all what? Viscera. And that is over here. The most appropriate answer that will encompass everything will be the viscera. The viscera. That's over here. Your answer is C. Your answer is C. Now, which of the stated relationships is correct? Which of the stated relationships is correct? The heart is inferior to the clavicle. The shoulder is distal to the carpal. So you see, if you don't understand the meaning of distal, proximal, it means you'll get this question wrong. If you don't know what the inferior is, you'll get this question wrong. The phalanges are proximal to the metacarpals. The eye is medial to the eyebrow. So it's good that we have already established what all these terminologies could mean to us. Now let's take it one after the other. So the first option is the heart is inferior to the clavicle. Let's see if this is true or not. Now the clavicle, also known as the collarbone, it lies above the heart. Now this thing here is the heart. This here, this is the heart. Okay. Then this is your clavicle. Or these are your clavicles. All right. So you can see the relationship between the clavicle and the heart. The clavicle or the collarbone is above the heart. So we say it is what? It is superior to the heart. This means that the heart is inferior to the clavicle, right? The heart is inferior to the clavicle, but the clavicle is superior to the heart. So this statement is actually what? True. So we can hold on to that. What about the shoulder is distal to the carpals? Is that true? Now, this right here is a shoulder, right? Then the carpals, which you refer to what the wrist bones over here. Now let's look at the relationship. Don't forget, we've already established the meaning of what proximal and the meaning of what distal. For the benefit of learning, let's go over it again. We say proximal means something that is closer to the point of attachment or closer to the trunk of the body. Closer to the trunk of the body. It is closer. Then distal means it is farther from the point of attachment or from the trunk or from the body. It is further away. It is further away. Now, this means that the shoulder is proximal, right? Shoulder is proximal. That means it is closer to the trunk, and the carpals, which are the wrist bones, are rather what? Distal. So this statement is not correct over here. That the shoulder is distal to the carpals. No. No, that is not true. That is not true. The shoulder is rather what? Proximal, whereas the carpals are distal. The carpals are distal. So this statement is false. So it's not correct. Now let's look at the relationship between the phalanges and the metacarpals. The phalanges and the metacarpals. Now the phalanges refers to the fingers. They refers to what? The fingers, the fingers, the fingers. Now these are distal. They are what? They are distal. And the metacarpals, which are the hand bones, these are proximal. Don't forget, this is away from the body. This one is away from the body, right? This is closer to the body or to the trunk. That is why metacarpals are proximal, whereas the phalanges are distal. Distal. So again, the phalanges are proximal is wrong. The phalanges are rather what? Distal. All right. Now, the last option. They say the eye is medial to the eyebrow. The eye is medial to the eyebrow. Is that so? Looking at this diagram over here, the eye is definitely located below and deep to the eyebrow. So this is your eyes, for those who still care to know what the eye is. And this is your eyebrow, right? So the question is, what's the relationship? Of course, the eye is what? Inferior to the eyebrow, which also means that the eyebrow is superior to the eyes. So it is not medial. No, it is what? The eye is inferior to the eyebrow. All right. So again, your answer is A. So the correct relationship is that the heart is inferior to the clavicle, or the clavicle is superior to the heart. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. If you enjoyed it, do well to follow us on our social media platform, on our website at medentweb.com, on YouTube at Medent Tutorials, on Instagram at medent_edu, on Facebook at Medent, and on TikTok at medent.tutorials. If you're new on this channel, don't forget to hit the subscription button so you get notified anytime we post a new video. Peace out and see you in my next presentation.